We are back with episode 17 of the podcast Quote Quest, a podcast where we take quotes and we dive into the intricate meaning of them to change lives and unlock profound truths. Today, we are looking into the 5 main arguments for God's existence. The first argument is called the ontological argument for God. Ontos is the Greek word for being. We can only conceptualize that which is real, and so the highest conception of our combined wisdom is God as the greatest conceivable being. This argument argues that because existence in reality is greater than existence only in the mind, the most perfect being must exist to fulfill that definition. So, because existing in reality is greater than existing only in thought, a maximal being must exist, which is God. The second argument for God is called the cosmological argument, coming from the Greek word cosmos, which means all-encompassing in creation. These arguments argue that the universe's existence requires an uncaused first cause, or necessary being, which is God. Essentially, you have to have a beginning for everything, like the creation of the universe, and those beginnings had to have had a beginning, and the chain keeps going on, needing for there to be a starting point, which is God. Needing for there to be a starting point in which there was no other event that led up to that point. William Lane Craig, in his book On Guard, talks about how you cannot go through an infinite number of events one at a time. It implies that there needs to be a beginning. For example, a student is using a pencil to take a test. That pencil didn't just pop into existence. It was purchased by his mom. Before that pencil was purchased, it arrived in a box. Before that, the pencil was being manufactured in a factory. Before that, the materials to make the pencils were shipped in trucks. And before that, the materials to make the pencil were being gathered by workers. The chain goes on and on and on. These events are like dominoes, where the dominoes keep knocking each other over until the pencil gets to that student. Eventually, you have to ask yourself, how did all of this start? If you apply this to the Big Bang, how did the required materials needed for the Big Bang get to that specific point to cause that explosion? And if they did get there, how did those materials get there to deliver those materials to that specific point? The list just keeps going on and on and on and on and on, and for an infinite number of times. The fact that we are here and alive is proof that someone or something was eternal. Because if everything needed a cause for its existence, then there would be an infinite number of events that would need to happen in order for us to get here. The Bible answers this in Genesis 1:1, where it says, "In the beginning God," which answers the first beginning question. Time, space, and matter exist in a continuum, and they must come into existence at the same time. Therefore, something outside of that had to create all of it. And I'll explain more on that in a minute. The third argument is called the teleological argument for God, which comes from the Greek word telos, meaning goal and destination. This view argues that for every effect, there must be a cause. The universe's complex, orderly, and fine-tuning for life implies an intelligent designer or God, rather than just random chance. This view argues that if anything was off by just a micron, such as the tilt of the Earth, our proximity to the sun, atmospheric pressures, tectonic plates, our configuration of oxygen to CO2, and the probability of our existence being 1 in trillions upon trillions upon trillions, let alone consciousness, human beings, DNA. The fact that everything lined up so perfectly in order for us to be here and alive right now points to an intelligent designer, because the probability that we're here right now is just so slim. That is why I don't believe any life is a mistake. In addition, time, space, and matter exist in a continuum, and again, they have to come into existence at the same time. It was discovered in the 20th century that the universe is constantly expanding, meaning that at some point in time, it had to have had a starting point. If you go back all these years and you take the universe back to its original starting point, before, right when it was birthed and then started expanding, there had to have been a starting point for our universe. So if there had to have been a starting point for our universe, then there had to have been something outside of the universe, outside of time, space, and matter, in order to create what we now live in. Because if there was matter but no space, where would you put it? If there was space and matter but no time, when would you put it? That is why there had to have been something outside of those limitations to create everything that we see today. The fourth argument is called the column proof of time, which, thanks to Albert Einstein, we know that time is real and can be traversed with enough speed. And in order for time to have existed, something timeless must have created it. The fifth argument is the axiological view of God. The word axios is Greek for judgment. This means that every human being has a sense of right, and wrong embedded in us. And the Bible says that the law is written on every human heart. This is where objective morality comes in, where we appeal to something outside of just us humans to determine right and wrong. Because if not, if morality just comes down to us human beings, then who is to say that what one person is doing is right and what another person is doing is wrong? If all truth is subjective, then how can that statement be objectively true? It can't. Just to give you an example, with horrible events in human history like the Holocaust, the Nazis thought what they were doing was right. If there's no objective standard of morality, then who is to say that we are wrong? If one person says that they're wrong and the other person says that they're right, well then if there's no objective standard, who is to say that they're wrong? If a community of people make laws to determine what they think is right and wrong, but then another group of humans think differently about what is right and wrong, then how do those humans who make the laws have power over the other humans? You see, it creates a power struggle and a power imbalance, which is why if you are going to make laws about something to keep people safe, you have to appeal to a standard of morality which is just outside of human beings. Killing 6 million innocent Jews isn't right because some people think it's right and some people think it's wrong. It is objectively wrong, no matter what culture or background you come from. We know that things like this are objectively wrong due to natural law, which the Bible explains and affirms. And God is relevant to natural law because God serves as the ontological ground for right and wrong. Now, none of these arguments convince you of God's existence, and you want 100% proof that there is a God. You want God to come down from the heavens, you want to see God face to face, and then you can say, okay, God is real. And it's okay to struggle with doubt. I myself as a Christian struggle with doubt from time to time as well, and that is a very human thing to go through. I cannot 100% prove that God exists, but the truth is, none of us can base our lives on 100% proof of anything. It is impossible. For example, when you go sit on a chair at the start of a class, can you 100% prove that that chair will not collapse under your weight? Or when you go to start your car in the morning, can you 100% prove that the car will start when you turn that key or push that button? No, you can't. You have confidence that the chair will hold your weight because of the evidence that it is reliable from its sturdiness, other students sitting in it, and the fact that chairs with similar structural integrity have held your weight before. You have confidence that your car will start because of the evidence that it is reliable from previous drives. In the same way, I can't 100% prove that God exists, but it is the reliable evidence that we have from science and logic that make me believe. The fact that something cannot come from nothing. Matter cannot be created from non-matter. Energy cannot be created from non-energy. The fact that time, space, and matter had to have come in existence at the same time. The improbable mathematical likeliness of our existence and of everything that you see around us. All of this evidence, plus so much more, points me to the fact that there must be a creator. That's all for today's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. God bless you, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Go take on the day.